Hi, my name is Matthew Povey and I'm all with Albury Wodonga Counselling and Hypnotherapy. Today's video is just a really simple, quick technique that I teach a lot of my clients to reduce the intensity and severity of different pain symptoms, and it's a three-step technique. Now, the idea of this technique is not to remove the pain, but just to reduce the intensity and the effect it's having on you. And the way this works is by changing your relationship in the way you perceive signals of discomfort in the body. Now, for the purpose of this video, I'm going to use an imaginary area of my shoulder and to the start of my elbow here, and imagine that there's neuropathic pain that is going from here to here. So the first part of this technique is to create a scale for yourself between 0 and 10. Now, you can choose what either end of the scale you want to use, but generally a lot of people use 0 as experiencing no discomfort, being more relaxed and it not really bothering them. 5 on the scale will be an in between of that, where they're able to notice it but tolerate it, and 10 is when their body is screaming out going, hey, pay attention to me, or this is overwhelming and it's actually limiting them. So get a piece of paper and actually jot down and spend some time now just for a few moments so you can create that scale that suits you. And once you've done that, you can modify and adapt it, and it gives you something to bring reference back to later on in this video. So the next step of the technique is what I want you to do is to begin to turn your attention to wherever in your body you're experiencing that discomfort. And just take a few moments with your eyes open or closed just to take a couple of breaths in and out. I do this with my eyes closed, so I naturally do that. And focus on the area of the body where you're experiencing that discomfort. Now, once you've got that, I want you to begin to notice a couple of things and write these down, because these are going to be really important. And that is there any color associated with the discomfort? Is the discomfort moving in a certain direction or a certain way? Is it got a texture? Is it a solid? Is it a liquid? Or is it a gas? Or a bit of both? Or a bit of all of them? Or in between? Or something different altogether? What particular sensations and feelings can you feel? And write down how you would describe those particular sensations and feelings. So for nerve pain, it could be shooting. For aches, it could be a dull ache, it could be a sharp ache. For others, it could be muscle spasm. Now, when you take that time now just to pay attention to that discomfort, also notice is there any colors or sound associated with it, and if there is, how would you describe them in relation to the way they move, if they're 2D or 3D, if the pain starts in a particular location and moves down or up somewhere else? Does it change in color, or does it change? So some people might, for example, using the shoulder to elbow, experience a long red cylinder that starts off really thin and grows really thick towards the elbow, to give you a bit of an example of how you might use that. And it might move in a pulsing direction down the arm. So they're the sorts of things I want you to pay attention to, and to take some time during and after this video to really focus on that, build up that picture of what it might be for you. And you might find it's even something more abstract. Some people even describe it as like fire burning like the Australian bush. So if that's the way you symbolize it, really build that up and get in touch with that. So once you've got these things written down, the second part of this process is doing things in reverse. So if your discomfort moves in a certain direction, I want you to take some time to build a new image up and to imagine it moving in the opposite direction. So if it goes down, you might move it up. If it moves in a circle out of the body, you might move it the other way, anti-clockwise if it goes clockwise, or vice versa. If it's solid, you might want to change it to a liquid or keep it a solid. If it goes from thick to thin, you might want to make it go from thin to thick. And the particular sensations, just imagine what the opposite of them would be. Really build a picture of doing that the other way around. And the final part of this process is if there's a color, so say for example it's a red or an orange, maybe you want to move that color in another way and change it. So a lot of people find blue or green soothing and relaxing, and then actually changing the color. And then you might want to change the texture. Is there a texture to it? If it's 3D, you might want to stretch it out. Because some people find with localized pain, it's like this. What would happen if you made it a blue and stretched it out? So what I'm trying to get you to do here is use your imagination to get creative in the way you imagine things, and you can replace it with something new. If there's any sounds there, maybe you want to replace the sound of a particular shooting pain or discomfort with something like the sound of a stream, or streams just in the wind, or the sound of the wind or the waves, or something like that in there. And so what I want you to build a picture of is what would be the opposite of this for you. And really take some time to build that in. And you will have to play around with this, so I encourage you to come back and watch the video again. Get really creative. You can draw pictures if that works for you, but really just take that time to do that now and build that up. Then what I want you to imagine to do for the next step of this, once you have that ideal image of what that would be like, the opposite of it, something to replace it that would be more comfortable, calming, soothing, is actually putting that in where the other thing was and get creative. So for using the shoulder to the elbow, I'm going to imagine it's now going back from the elbow to the shoulder, and it's a blue stream going up. And that stream has a slight sound of water to it, and it's also around this thick, so it's 3D, but it's like a cylinder going up my arm to where it used to be, and it's traveling in the opposite direction. I'm also beginning to notice that there's different textures there. It's a lot lighter and soothing. It's more relaxing. And so what I want you to take the time to do is to do the opposite and replace what was there, and imagine something new being there, changing the color, the texture, the density. If there's any flavors, you may even find that's there. Another big one as well is temperature. A lot of people who are experiencing discomfort notice that particular areas might be hotter or colder. So really take the time to build that. Get yourself in a relaxed state, take a few breaths, with your paper, and spend some time putting the new thing where the other thing was. So once you've spent some time doing that, then the last part of this exercise is creating another scale. So I want you again from 0 to 10, but this time to do it the opposite way around you did it. So if you went from 0 being uncomfortable and 10 being comfortable, then what we'd want to do is create a comfort scale where 10 would be uncomfortable and 0 would be completely comfortable and relaxed. And to create a new scale, the opposite of the first scale, called the comfort scale. And then once you've actually got that, is to go through the 3-step process. Once you've got that second part really built up and a really good idea of what that's like and installed in, and then go from 1, 2, and 3, and then rate your comfort at the end. And then it's really imperative to start making this effectively, practicing it 2 to 5 times a day. Most people do it. Sometimes you can do it more. You can't, there's no side effects of these sort of things. Just practicing them daily, and then getting good at doing what the opposite was, and keeping a track of where the comfort is at the end to where any discomfort was previously. Now, you may find that on these scales that you only move 1 or 2 points, and that's okay, because the thing is, because of the subjectivity of pain is different for everyone in discomfort, in that what can be 1 point for me and might only be 1 point to another person could actually be relief of 100%. And that's what I quite often see when I work with people with long-standing chronic discomfort issues, is that the movement of 2 points can actually make a massive impact and difference in their lives and their ability to get on and do things. So that's what I'm going to encourage you to do from today's video. Share it, pass it on. Get creative with it, get artistic, get, you know, do something new that you haven't done before, and start to change your relationship with yourself, your neurology, to live a happier and healthier life. Thank you.